Okay, welcome to everybody. Today we try to make it clear what happened from the point of view of the thought of the ideas in the Victorian period. So we are talking about Victorian thinkers. We have already studied, we have already seen what happened in this very long age, very long reign of Queen Victoria. We saw that there were a lot of contrasts, the typical Victorian compromise, the difference between ideals and real situation of poor people, reforms on one side and great problems of exploitation on the other. We've talked about the way of living of the Victorian people, in particular the way of living of upper classes, social classes, and in contrast of poor social classes, so lower social classes. We are now trying to understand which was the main ideas, the main thinkers, the main influences coming from scientists, thinkers, philosophers, and also writers, as well as scientists. For example, we start talking about evangelicalism. Evangelicalism was introduced by John Wesley, and the evangelicalism gave a great importance to the Bible. So life and their beliefs were based on the strict respect of the Bible and of the gospel. They had a very strict code of behavior, so they didn't want any entertainment at all, so they didn't accept any form of pastime, very similarly to the Puritans. But differently from the Puritans, they also gave great importance to humanitarian actions, so charitable activities and reforms played a very important role in their conception of life. In contrast with evangelicalism, there was the idea of utilitarianism. What did they believe, utilitarian people, in particular Bentham, who was a thinker, a philosopher, who introduced this idea of utilitarianism? Basically, they thought that an action is moral, so a decision, a law is moral, when it brings happiness to the greatest people. Greatest people is an important word because they didn't care about the majority of poor people, because in this period, more than in any other periods in the past, the number of poor, suffering people, exploited people was extremely huge. Well, they didn't care about these people, but they gave importance to greatest people, so important people, richer people. So if the action led to the happiness of the greatest people, it could be considered as moral. In contrast also, and in great contrast, a great attack to utilitarianism came from empiricism, with Charles Dickens and Stuart Mill. Charles Dickens was an important writer, and we are going to see his life and his work, which was determinant for the Victorian age. And Stuart Mill was a philosopher and an economist. According to empiricism, legislation, so the government, the laws, should help people to develop their natural talents. So we shouldn't care about many other things but natural talents. Society should support individual differences, so the main attempt of society from their point of view should be to help people develop in different ways according to their we can say qualities, talents. Moreover, they gave great importance to education and art, because they believed that in order to make people develop in the best way, it is very important to give them education and to give them the knowledge and the possibility to enjoy art in a wide sense. And they also believed in the importance of reforms. And in fact, empiricism was of great help, in particular Charles Dickens, for the introduction and to make people more sensitive to the importance of reforms. There is another very important thinker, but is also, and in particular, a scientist, Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin published in his lifetime. He dedicated his life to the study of nature, of natural species, and as a coronation of his life and studies, he published his book, on which he talked about the theory of evolution and natural selection. In this book, he stated that all creatures change and adapt to survive with the passing of time. So there is a change in the natural world due to the attempt of creatures to survive. Stronger creatures, he said, survive, while weaker are destined to be extincted. And he also believed that human beings are similar to all the other creatures, so they derive from the monkey and the monkeys, and they had a gradual evolution through the times. This idea in particular was in contrast with the Bible, because the idea of creation stated by the Bible was quite different. So we can say that Charles Darwin was not well accepted by religion and by religious people. And but the positive side is that he gave a vision of the universe as a place in continuous development, so not a static situation, not a static place. Unfortunately, Charles Darwin was used by some people in a negative way, and we will see what will happen in the future. At the end, we can say, of the Victorian Age, with the theory, how the theories of Charles Darwin will be used negatively to fight and to destroy, to extinguish, to try to extinguish some human beings. Thank you.